There I am. Okay, cool. Took me a minute. Hopefully, I've got this. Sorry about that. It's brand new at this. I haven't figured this out yet. But anyway, I thought it was time for me to introduce myself. I'm Sin, Chef Sin. Hey, Hezza, how are you? Tucson, awesome. Great area. Anyway, it's time for me to introduce myself. I am Chef Sin. I am basically a home cook, but I did do a little bit of work in the grocery store. I was a demo chef at a grocery store and really loved it and decided that it was a great way to teach people and reach out to people. And some people have problems and haven't cooked a whole lot, and that's what I'm here for. That my goal is to make things easy for you guys and all of that. So I call myself a grandma chef. It's one of those things where when I was a kid, my mother was not a very good cook. And so my dad's family used to tease her all the time. And so back then, I had decided that by God, by the time I got married, I was going to know how to cook. And so I made it my business to learn how to cook. And my grandmother, fortunately, was a very good cook. Um, and she taught me quite a bit. And one of the fun things is that I like to experiment. I cook with a lot of wines and spirits, and like the margarita chicken that I did the other day has tequila in it. So I do a lot of that stuff, but I really am not what you'd call a commercial chef. I'm just kind of, I used to argue with my boss all the time at the grocery store. He used to say that I was a chef, and I kept saying, "No, I'm a grandma cook." And he said, "No, you're a chef." So, and he was a chef. He was a professional chef. He's actually cooked for President Obama and some of the other presidents. He was in the Palm Beach area, and he taught me quite a bit. And some of the things that I have learned is that I've learned how to write a recipe, which was important. And I learned how to talk to people in a way that they understand and answer questions and help people find things that they might like to try. And so that's kind of what I've been doing is doing that. And so I thought it might be fun to do a channel. And my initial thought was, because I'm type 2 diabetic, I eat low carb. And my thought was to take people's favorite types of recipes like pork chops and spaghetti and those types of things and teach you how to do them low carb. Well, then I got kind of involved in this SPTV Nation and got interested in trying to do things to help people coming out of the cult be able to make really good meals for not a ton of money and make it easy for them and give them some of the things that they're familiar, as well as some new things to try. So that's sort of how this all came about. And I will probably do some low carb work here in the future. I'm not quite ready to do it yet, but I do have a lot of recipes that I do low carb. I have written a pseudo cookbook. I'm in the middle of it right now. That I gave for Christmas to my daughter. My daughter's a type 1 diabetic, and she was complaining that she couldn't find any recipes she liked that were low carb. So I wrote her, went and took all the recipes that I made for her when she was a kid and reworked them as a low carb. And so now she has a book. And of course, that's Christmas and birthday gifts forever, because all I have to do is write about 10 or 12 more recipes and pack them up and send them to her. So that makes life easy. But it's one of those things where I like to try and um, make things easy for y'all. And if you have any questions, I mean, if I don't know the answer, I'll find out. If I do know the answer, I'm more than willing to tell you. Um, it is one of those cooking is it's like a science with a little bit of enjoyment to it. You know, cooking is basically chemistry. It's what goes with what and makes what. And so you kind of have to train your palate to certain things, to taste certain things. And if you mess up, so what? If it's not perfect the first time, as long as you write down what you did, you can go back through what you did and you can say, oh, well, maybe this is not what I should use. I should use this instead. And that's what I do. I literally will take recipes that seem to be okay. I kind of like them. And then I'll say, okay, what can I do to make it better? And so I go through, and as I tweak things and change things, I write them down. Because if you don't write them down, then you don't have anything to go, but you can't replicate it. You can't do it again because, oh gosh, what did I change? That kind of thing. So that is pretty much what I do. And I'm hoping you guys are enjoying it. I am trying to do content every day. I don't always make it, but I try to do content every day. So, look to see that there's something. I'm in the middle of doing the editing for one of the single parent series, the Simple Meals for Single Parents. I'm doing egg roll in a bowl. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that, ever had it. It tastes exactly like an egg roll in a bowl. So it is really, and it's super simple. I mean, just really simple. So if there's anything you want to know about me, feel free to ask. If there's any problems that you're having in the kitchen, let me know. I'll see what I can do to help you out. It's kind of hard to go through everything. I mean, I can tell you things like, the most dangerous tool in your kitchen is a dull knife. I mean, that's kind of a given. Although some people would argue as they cut off, part of their fingers because they're not paying attention to where their fingers are. But if you're having to saw at something for a long time, my gosh, you have a better chance of cutting something off that you're not wanting to cut off than if you have a sharp knife and it goes right through and you're done. So I sharp every time before I start cooking. I don't show it, but before I start cooking on any of these videos, I sharpen all my knives. Everything's sharp. The other thing is the best way to get stuff done is to get what we call a mise en place. It's a French term for mess in place. So it's get all your stuff together so that it's within reach and you can just, do it. Oh, thank you. A single mom with a long line of non-cooks. It's, like I said, cooking is, pardon the dogs. Apparently somebody's come up at the front door and I'm going to ignore them. But anyway, cooking is experimentation. Don't be afraid to try things. Take what I give you, and in this family, I cannot use spice. I have a son who has a very difficult stomach issues, and so I can't use a whole lot of spice. So even though sometimes I'll say put jalapenos or red pepper flakes, I don't use them. You'll notice that. I have another person in my family that cilantro tastes like soap. That is genetic, believe it or not. That is a genetic thing. So it is one of those things where I can tell you certain things that I would normally do, but I don't show you doing them or show myself doing them because I can't, because of the situations in my family. And that's kind of what you have to figure out is what your family will take. I have another one that won't eat tomatoes, onions, and mushrooms. I mean, and I cook with a lot of tomatoes, onions, and mushrooms. So, I mean, it's one of those things where he just has to deal with it. But, experiment, but make sure you write down what you've done. You can take the base recipe I give you. Let me think. Let's take the one that I'm going to post here probably later this evening or first thing in the morning. The egg roll in a bowl. That's one of the single parent, the single parent guide to simple meals that I do. It is basically, I used a ground pork and I used a chopped Asian salad. That's literally what I did, and then I made a sauce for it. So say you don't do pork, okay? For whatever reason, you don't do pork. So you can use chicken. You can use salad shrimp. In fact, if you use salad shrimp, you kind of have to do it slightly differently because, I'm cooking the pork in the front end of it. Whereas if you use salad shrimp, because shrimp cooks so fast, and usually the little bitty shrimps are already cooked. So you put them in towards the end, like when you put the sauce in. So you go ahead and you wilt the vegetables and then you add the shrimp. If your kids like, or you and your kids like egg rolls, you'll love that one. It's super easy, single pan, nothing to it, and really good. So, again, it's one of those things where if I say, okay, put cilantro in it, you have somebody in your family who doesn't do cilantro, then you can do parsley. You can do any series of other seasonings and other herbs instead of something that your family doesn't like. So, and it's very hard to poison your family with food, as long as it's fresh. The interesting thing is, and one of the things you'll notice, Hazal, when I do my recipes, is that 9 times out of 10, I'm going to give you a temperature and I'm not going to give you a time. I'm not going to say 20 minutes in the oven. Okay. I'm going to give you a temperature. And what that temperature is the temperature that the internal temperature that the meat, the protein, must meet for it to be food safe. Okay. So what I'm telling you is that you cook it to this temperature, you're not going to poison your family. If that makes sense. Excuse me, I've got a cotton mouth. But anyway, so I mean, I'm hoping that I am helping you in what you're trying to accomplish there. And if there's anything, like I said, anything you need to know, don't be afraid to ask. I'm more than willing to answer questions. I know this is the first time I've done this. I'm going to try to do this every week. I can't swear that I will do it every week, but I'm going to try to do a Food Talk Friday every week. And I figured that this time was the time to do one with just me, so that you guys could, find out who I was, ask me questions about what my background is. I have kind of a varied background. Like I said, as a kid, my mother couldn't cook to save her life. And to this day, she cannot deviate from a recipe. If it's not written in a recipe, she can't do it. So, and it annoys her to all in that I can add things and change things and it still comes out okay. But, so she was not a very good cook, and I swore as a kid that I was not going to go through the teasing that she did, because my dad's family cooked very well. So that was the beginning of it, and the very first thing I ever cooked was scrambled eggs. Believe it or not, I was visiting my aunt in Virginia. I want to say I was about 6, and I told her exactly that. I said I don't want to. I want to learn to cook. I don't want to have to go through what mom does. And so she taught me how to make scrambled eggs. And of course, then it got around that I wanted to learn how to cook. So my grandmother kind of took me under her wing, and she was a very good cook. Very country, things like chicken and dumplings and those types of things. Sorry, that was Casey going through. Anyway, and from there, it was just a case of experimentation and trying different things. Background wise, I spent 8 years as a veterinary assistant in an emergency clinic. So I had a lot of veterinary background, and oh my goodness, Casey. And so I have 3 German Shepherd dogs. You kind of sometimes can hear them as they go by. One of which I think if you guys have been in the community tab on the channel, one of which is very ill. And so I've kind of been putting this off because of having to take care of her. And she's doing better. She's not out of the woods yet. Excuse me. She's not out of the woods yet, but she's doing better. And she's probably talking to me right now. And yeah, there she is. Anyway, she's doing better, and I'm hopeful that she will pull through. She's 9. She's an older dog. Um, and then I have Casey, who is my best friend's dog. I lost my best friend. It'll be a year in October to cancer, and oh gosh, it's going to be 2 years in October. So when thank you. When she passed away, I had promised her and her family that if, excuse me, if Casey didn't have anywhere to go, he had a home at my house because Wendy and I used to show dogs together. And so I brought him home, and he has been here since then. So I'm taking care of her dog since she's passed. And then I have the puppy that I got that I had been planning on getting and got about the same time, just before I found out I was getting Casey. And so I have 3 German Shepherds, 2 solid blacks and a black and tan. And I used to breed and show German Shepherds. These are probably my last Shepherds. I injured my back in 2020, and so I can't handle them like I used to. It's really hard. They are strong dogs, so I'm probably going to go to the Corgis, which are German Shepherds in small clothes. But anyway, has nothing to do with cooking, but just giving you a little background. I live in Pflugerville, just outside of Austin, Texas. I Texas born and bred, and like I said, I spent 7-8 years at a grocery store. It's called HEB here in Texas. And I was one of the demo chefs in the what they call the Cooking Connection kitchen. And so it's really kind of interesting because you see, I have the chef thing, and I was trying to wear this when I was going on lives, and unfortunately, it has a logo that I can't show. So I had to order myself my own chef's coat. So you see, it's got the Sinfully Good and the chef sin on it. But anyway, and when the pandemic came, we discovered 2 things. One is that I cannot wear a mask. If it covers my face, I have panic attacks, and we don't know why. I have no idea. As far as I know, nothing's happened, but who knows? But I did definitely have panic attacks, and so I took what was supposed to be a short-term leave, and stayed out of the store. And I'd already was having some back issues, and when they moved me from Cooking Connection to the bakery, where I was standing on a hard floor, and I was working on the tortilla machine, which is literally you pick the little dough balls up, you put them on the thing, and they go in, and you catch the guys at the end. And it just aggravated my back. And so now it's one of those things where I can't stand for long periods of time. I can't sit for long periods of time. I have to move, and I'm in a lot of pain with the back. So basically I couldn't go back. It was one of those deals where I just couldn't stand that long and do the boys are playing anyway and do what I did before. So I was trying to figure out a way to have something to do other than sit around and play games and watch TV and that type of stuff. Oh my goodness, elephants. Anyway, so I thought, well, maybe I'll do a YouTube channel, but I was afraid to. I didn't. It's like sort of like, what do I talk about? What do I do? And well, I cook. And so I thought, well, I could do something with that. And I hemmed and hawed about it for a couple of years. And finally, I just decided, might as well do it. So here we are. So that's me. That's what I've been doing. Other than that, not a whole lot. I sit at home and I babysit my dogs, and with Sabbath sick right now, I'm at her beck and call. She's probably annoyed at me because I'm not running to her. She's become queen bee now, so she's definitely demanding. Um, but she is doing a bit better. We're not out of the woods yet. We're still uh trying to see. We don't know what's wrong. All of the tests came back negative. Short of sending her down to A&M and having MRIs done and spending, a fortune on that medical on her, which I would do, but I just can't. Um, I'm keeping her comfortable, keeping her eating, and keeping her happy, and hopefully she comes back. Hopefully she gets close to what she was. She's got. I mean, today she's a little bit lower. Yesterday she was 100%. I mean, she wanted to go out and play, um, but she's getting there. So anyway, so Heza, tell me, what kind of food do you like? I mean, I do. My husband's Italian. My husband's Sicilian Italian, so I do a lot of Italian food. Yeah, I'm sure you've noticed. Um, I do a bit of Mexican. I'm in Texas. I mean, we do Tex-Mex, so I do some of that. Um, I do. Uh, hey, peace and love. How are you? You need an easy lunch? Okay, so what is it that you're wanting for lunch? Do you want to actually cook something, or do you want a sandwich? you know, how easy do we want to go? Ideas. Well, simple, easy ideas for lunch. Of course, I do the tuna salad. That's an easy one. I was telling Huzzah here, I did an egg roll in a bowl last night. It's going to be going up. In fact, I'm literally in the middle of editing it, so it should be up tonight or tomorrow. And egg roll in a bowl literally is just take some ground chicken or pork, put it in your pan, cook it. Add some of the get yourself a chopped Asian salad. Hi, Selma. Chopped Asian salad. Drop it in there on top of the meat. Let it wilt, and then you mix a little bit of soy glaze, rice wine vinegar, some garlic, some ginger, and a little bit of sesame oil in a bowl, and just pour it in and stir it and cut. And those salads come with, like, they have little wonton strips, and they have nuts, and you could actually use the dressing from the salad as the sauce. It's not quite as good, but it does work. So if you wanted to make it really simple, peace and love, just literally the ground meat, the chopped Asian salad, and this salad dressing that comes with it, and cook it up, and it tastes like an egg roll in a bowl, literally. Very quick and easy. Another easy lunch that you might consider. Oh, thank you, Selma. I did grilled cheese. We did a grilled cheese video. That's in the single parent guide. To feed someone else with little effort and expense. So, is it a friend that you're trying to feed? Again, that tuna salad is really good. Are you looking for a hot meal, or are you looking for a cold meal, like a finger sandwiches type thing? So, because you're saying you want to feed someone else, I'm trying to think of what you might be able to do on a quick lunch. Don't have all the ingredients. Selma, some of the things, I'm not sure what you have in that area that you might do. I'm trying to start as I'm doing some of this, because, like, the chicken, for example, that I put up today, the bodacious chicken, it has a particular sauce that I use in it, and so what I'm trying to do is do the hard work for you. Soup and grilled cheese is easy. Yes, it is. Um, I try to find the ingredients, the things that it would be hard for you to find, and give you a link to where you can order it. And that particular one with the soppin sauce is ordered through a company called Cookwell and Company. And I get it. It's Cookwell and Company kind of has an exclusive through HEB here in Texas, but you can go on their website and order those things. And so, like, I've put a link in the description for the Bodacious Sop and Sauce so you can make that chicken, for example. Oh, not a problem. But yeah, I mean, I'm starting to try to do that, to try to give you guys, so because I realize that some of the things that I talk about getting here, you can't get everywhere in your grocery store. It's actually going to take a little bit more effort to get those particular ingredients. And so a lot of times I try to give you, like, again, the Bodacious Sop and Sauce. I tell you in that video that I call it A1 on steroids. You could literally use A1 instead, which is a steak sauce. But I like the Bodacious Sop and Sauce better, which is why I use that. So you can try some of that stuff. Like I said, you can order it through Cookwell and Company. I'm not sure what their international shipping is like. I mean, it might be worthwhile just to go get you some A1 at the store or something like that. But that way, at least you have a general idea of what it is that I'm talking about when I put it in a recipe. So I'm trying, like I said, I'm trying to put those links in there. And one of the things that I did, one of the things that I did was I was looking at YouTube and I was like going, I wish there was a way that I could give you guys the ability to print those recipes, so you're not having to stand there and try to watch the video and figure it out while you're trying to cook, because that's kind of a pain. Pause it on the recipe, come on. So basically what I've done is, if you look in all of those videos, there is the later ones. The early ones I was still learning. The later, most recent ones, you'll see that I have a link to Facebook. It's a Facebook group that gives you, I've loaded these recipes into the Facebook so that you can click on them. It's a PDF file, you can print it, and then you have it. And you don't have to sit there and have the computer open or your phone open and trying to figure out what the recipe is. So when you find something you want to try, go ahead and click on the link to the recipe and just download it and print it out. And that way you have it. So you have a farm helper. Mental health. Oh, okay. Tuna salad and the chicken noodle soup. What was that? Anyway, there is. Can you get some tortellini? Because you can take, and I did it as an Instant Pot meal. I haven't put it up yet, but you take the chicken and you cook it. Like, you could just boil it or cook it however you want to. Yeah, quesadillas would work too. The quesadillas are really easy. So if you want to do that, and but another one, I mean, it sounds to me like you're talking about somebody that you're going to be cooking kind of regularly for. So, I mean, trying different things. A pasta salad. Selma's right on. A great little pasta salad. Get yourself some chicken, some of the vegetable rotini, a little bit of dark black olives, some, gosh, what am I thinking? Celery, bell peppers, if they can eat peppers. That type of stuff. Mix them all together, and then if you've made the ranch seasoning that I have a video for, take that, sprinkle it in there, add some mayonnaise, stir it up, call it a day. If you don't and you have some ranch dressing, throw some ranch dressing in with a little bit of mayonnaise, and that way the mayonnaise will tighten that ranch dressing up and make it coat it a little better. So you'll have a nice little pasta salad. It's a beautiful, Selma's right. That's a really good and quick and simple meal, lunch type meal. The grilled cheese, again, we talked about that. the tortellini, you take the chicken, boil up the chicken, put the frozen tortellini, just get the frozen stuff. You daily daily and you're over it. I hear you. One of those things that you can also do is if you make dinner, just make a little extra and put it in a little side dish for him, and then you just hand it to him, and it's nothing extra that you're having to do. And it does kind of get old when you have to do something extra every day, but again, I mean, it's also helpful. And if he's having mental health issues, then maybe he's not eating well. And the thing that you think about, Peace, is that you know maybe the meal you give him is the only meal he's actually getting, and that will become very important. you know so just make a little extra at dinner and put it in a little bowl for him, and you can give it to him the next day. Whatever you're making, anything, it sounds to me like anything that you make for him will appreciate greatly. So try that. um Basic technique. Okay, so you want basic techniques, huzzah. So are you didn't know you had to sharpen? Yes. Like I said, I sharpen my knives every single. I don't do it on. You don't see me do it, but before I start, every single time I cook, I sharpen my knives. Um, your best tool is a sharp knife, and taking care of your knives is another thing. You know, I can go through, and I do on some of the videos. You'll see me go through the process of how I mince garlic, or how I chop an onion, or how these different things. And I am kicking around. There's a segment, I just haven't done it yet, that I want to do called Cooking 101. And that particular segment is going to be things like knife skills and minimum heat. What the internal temperature is for. Like, here's the interesting thing. If you talk about chicken, the internal temperature for chicken, making the conversion from English or American temperature figures to Celsius, I'm not good at. Math is not my thing. But anyway, I can give you the American, and you can do the conversion. And if you'll notice in the recipes, I try to do that. And basically I go and I look it up on Google. I Google it. So, but anyway, so for chicken, your minimum temperature chicken and casseroles, the minimum temperature that you want any of your foods is to be 165 degrees internal temperature. You'll hear me say that all the time. That's why you rarely hear me say, cook in your oven for 20 minutes, because my oven at 20 minutes might get it to 165. Your oven at 20 minutes might get it to 185 and it's overcooked, or it might get it to 145 and it's undercooked. So that's why I give temperatures instead of times. Time's relative, temperature is constant. So like I said, chicken is 165 internal temperature. Pork is 145 internal temperature. Steak, beef, is anywhere from 120, which is rare, to 175, which is well done. It's got a big range. So that's part of what I want to cover in Cooking 101 is the safe temperatures, the knife skills. How do you cook? How do you mince? How do you chop? What is a chop? What is a small chop? What is a dice? What is a batonette? Those types of things. That's the Cooking 101, and that one I'm working on. How to sharpen your knives. Now I have one of those little tabletop ones that you do. And then I have what would they call a steel, which is that bar that you get with your knife sets. You get a knife set and you get this bar and you go, what is this? Do I beat my husband with it? Right. But it's actually what chefs use to sharpen their knives. So, so I'm going to be going through all of that stuff. Storage. I mean, there are ways that you are levels which you should. A meat thermometer. Yes. Meat thermometers are actually relatively easy. And my suggestion is to get an instant read digital thermometer, not just a plain meat thermometer, because you'll use it for everything. The one that I have like three. I have one that was $8 at the grocery store. I have one that was probably 10 or $12 at the grocery store as well, that you put in and you leave in, and it has a little timer and it gives you a little alarm. um yeah, I'll do the meat thermometer. And then I have one that is relatively expensive that I use for when I'm smoking my briskets and that type of stuff, because 110 degrees here in Texas, I don't want to stand outside for 8 hours. So, I use this one, and it literally, I set it for a time and it calls my phone and it says, "Hey, I'm done." I'm at the time, and I go do whatever's next. So there's different levels of thermometers to use, and I'm looking at another one that is even better, and it's a good deal more expensive, but I may be doing a bunch of briskets soon. So my thought is that, yeah, I probably ought to invest in a much more expensive one. But like I said, you can get very, very inexpensive meat or thermometers. You don't have a meat thermometer? Well, yeah, smoking a brisket is very, very temperamental. It's all about time and temp. If you go too far, you overcook it, it gets dry and it's nasty. So, that one's pretty unforgiving. But, like on a meat thermometer, like I said, an instant read internal digital thermometer is really simple and a basic thing to have. And that way, like I said, if you're worried about, say, you're making I don't know, you're making chicken. Chicken gets dry really, really easy if it's overcooked. And so you want to cook it to a temperature that is exactly it. In fact, what you do with chicken is, like I said, the internal temperature is 165, but you cook it to 150 or 160, and then you pull it out of your oven and let it rest, because while it's resting, it's going to come up to the 165 temperature. If you pull it out at 165 or over 165, it's still going to raise above that, your temperature. And the result of that is it's overdone. Salmon is notorious for this. So, you want to pull salmon out before it's actually at the 145 temperature, because if you don't, by the time it finishes its resting period, it's overdone. And the problem with salmon, when you overcook salmon, is it becomes dry and it becomes fishy. So if the things that you don't like about salmon is that it's dry and fishy tasting, the reason is probably because it's overcooked. So you want to pull it out a little bit early. That goes for any meat. You always want to rest your meats before you eat them. So if you ever, good case in point, you get a steak off the grill and you're just, oh yeah, I want to eat this right now. And you throw it on your plate and you cut into it and you get all this liquid all over your plate and it starts to get dry. And you're like, must be a bad piece of meat, because golly, it should have been really good. Well, what's happened is that you didn't rest it, and those muscle fibers, when you cook it, when it gets hot, those muscle fibers release all that liquid, and they're all excited and so forth. And you have to let them simmer down. You have to let them calm down and reabsorb all of those juices. And once you let it sit for about 10 minutes, usually it's about 10 minutes. The trick that I tell people is put a tablespoon of butter on top of your steak, put a piece of foil over the top of it, just kind of set it over the top. And once the butter's melted, your steak's done. That's the quick, easy way. But if you rest it, it's going to bring in all those juices that it has, gotten excited and gotten loose, and you're going to have a juicy, really good steak. So that's just a little tip. Always make sure that you give it that rest period, that rest time. So let's see. All types of casseroles are perfect next to. Yes, they are. Casseroles are sort of one of those things that I make when I'm being lazy. I'll make a casserole and just kind of do it. The day before. A lot of times, the casseroles I will put everything on together, and then I'll put it in the fridge. So the next day, all I got to do is shove it in the oven. I'm done. Set the oven off at 5 minutes early and leave the dish. Yeah, you could. I mean, that is as long as your oven doesn't cool down quickly. Again, casseroles are another one that need to be at 165 internal in the center. So that is a good way, and yes, it gives it the rest, but it's still. Here's the thing: when you're doing a turn it off 5 minutes early, is that you're going to start that rest period. And that rest period, your temperature is going to come down. Your meat's going to say, "Okay, I'm fine. I'm nice and toasty and kind." And you may go slightly over. Again, you want to make sure you get it to that internal temperature just to be safe, because that is a safe internal temperature, and that's one of the things I'll talk about in the Cooking 101. Yes, it does. So you have a gas. I'm jealous. I wish I had a gas oven. I wish I had a gas stove. The one I had when I was at the grocery store was a commercial stove. It was big gas, burners and the gas oven, and then it had this grill on the side, which was awesome. And interestingly enough, the expensive thing was not the oven and the stove and the grill. The expensive thing was the hood overhead, because with the grill on there, you had to have a special industrial hood. So yeah. So I wish I had a gas stove. I have the one that I have, and you see it occasionally. I don't do much on it with the channel. I actually work on a NuWave, mainly because I have a better light source, a better ability to get light on the island with the NuWave than I do on my stove. But you'll see it occasionally. It's one of those convection glass tops, and I hate it. I really wish I had a gas stove. I miss the one from work. It was really nice. And if you can have that, awesome. The grill I have outside, we have one side is a smoker and the other side is a gas grill. So what you've seen so far on the channel is me using the gas grill, but I do have a smoker, and I will probably, it's kind of what you're going to see. And Hazal, you might find this interesting. I've just told my family that we're probably having Thanksgiving in October, because I need to do the Thanksgiving, pardon the bumpy things. I've got a virtual background. That's not my house. I wish it was. But anyway, I'm going to be doing the Thanksgiving recipes coming up late September, early October. So you guys have a chance to see those recipes, decide whether or not that's what you want to do. And I'm doing different things. So it's not like, I'm going to do, oh, this is Thanksgiving meal. I'll have a bunch of different sides, a bunch of different, ways to do things. One of the things I'm thinking about doing is smoking a turkey. So we roasting a turkey, a stuffed turkey, and smoking a turkey. And, I am not going to do a deep fried turkey, and I'll tell you why. So have stopped using gas in the Netherlands. Oh, they're saying the same thing here. Not too long ago, they were talking about outlawing the gas stoves, and I'm like going, why? So surely it's no worse than the electric or anything else. So I can't imagine. Induction cooking. Excuse me. I need to learn to quit breathing and drinking at the same time. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, induction cooking. It's okay. The bad thing is, if you have iron pans on, and yeah, running out. Yeah. Um, if you have like iron skillets, and you have to have special pans to do induction. Um, the aluminum ones won't work. If you The trick to induction cooking, because it's magnetic, okay? So the trick to induction cooking is, if you want to know whether or not your pan will work on an induction stove, if that's what they're making you go to, and they may be doing it here in the States, I don't know. But if they're making you go to an induction pan or induction stove, take a magnet and put it on the bottom of your pan. And if it sticks to the bottom of your pan, it can be used on an induction stove. If it does not, it can't. It's that simple, because the induction is actually using magnetic to cook. It's the heated through magnetic. So that's the trick to finding out whether or not your pans will work on. If you have iron skillets, cast iron pans, those will work. There are some that have a base on the bottom that is set up for induction. And usually it'll say induction ready. It's just like you'll see me say something about oven ready pan. Um, the set of pans that I have, which are yeah, it is fast. And it's the other nice thing about induction is, and this is a nice thing about the new wave that I'm using, because the new wave is induction, um, is that it only heats the area that it needs to. Okay, and then it comes down to where it's not hot anymore very quickly. So it's like when I'm working in there, because I'll do like two or three things at a time. I'll do a couple of sides and I'll do a main, and I do it all on that induction thing. But I'm having to move it to do the prep part of what I'm doing. So I will. Hi, Casey. Anyway, so there's Casey in the background. Um, but I will have to actually move the the burner. And if it was not induction, it would be too hot for me to touch. So I am literally picking it up and moving it right after I've used it. So that's one of the nice things about induction. It will stay hot for a little bit, but not quite as badly. So I mean, that's a plus. Um, but again, iron skillets will work. There are some that that will say induction, like they'll say oven ready to 500 degrees or something like that. Those can go straight from the top of your cooktop right into the oven. So those are ones that are really nice to have, and they're a little bit expensive, but they last for a long time. I think Hexclad makes a really good one. I use one called Connectware. Trying to think of the name. There's a big expensive one, the ones that the big chefs use. I think it's called Ironclad. But anyway, those are, incredibly expensive. But that's what they are, is that you can put them, they're induction ready, they are oven ready, they are, you can do just about anything with them. You beat your husband with them, whatever you want to do. You know? But anyway, so yeah, it is you're right. It goes fast, and it comes down. I mean, gas. The problem with electric is that electric, it does not heat as fast as induction or gas, and that's kind of one of the things I don't like about electric. But anyway, so yeah, I'm with you. As for peace, again, my suggestion on the situation that you're running into is, quick little ham and cheese sandwiches work really well. Egg salad, just basically boil eggs, add mayonnaise and a little bit of pickle relish, and call it a day. Grilled cheese. Make a casserole, save a little bit aside of that casserole. Tuna casseroles are really easy. I mean, it literally is. If you're doing, I mean, a lot of people don't like tuna casseroles. Claire Headley's famous for not liking tuna casserole. But take basically some macaroni and cheese, box mac and cheese, and boil that up. Follow directions. I throw a can of cream of mushroom soup and a can of tuna in it and stir it up, and done. I mean, that's really it. That's a quick little tuna cat. Throw some peas in it, maybe, but something like that. it would be real easy. Now I'm going to do it. Basically what I'm trying to, you have yard eggs? Yeah, do eggs. I mean, egg salad is really simple. It's just hard boiled eggs, and pickle relish and mayo, and throw it in there. Maybe a little bit of mustard, just a touch of mustard, just to top it off, give it a little bit more flavor, and just stir it up. Put it on 2 pieces of bread and call it a day. An egg salad would work, and if you have a lot of eggs, that would be something that you could do pretty regularly and easily. Also, deviled eggs. People really like deviled eggs, and it's sort of the same basic procedure. Take the eggs, boil them, cut them in half, take the yolks out, put them in a bowl, add a little bit of mustard, a little mayonnaise, and a little bit of pickle relish. Stir it up, put it back into the half of the egg, the little divot that's in the egg. Put it back in there, and then sprinkle it with paprika. You know, um, Omelets, yes, omelets are really easy. I did one of the Cooking 911 things is on omelets. So I did I want to say a potatoes O'Brien omelet with that. But anything can go. You can put steak and peppers and onions in an omelet. Cheese, vegetables, ham. You can fill an omelet with just about anything. French toast, that's another one. That's a real easy, and you can actually take the base of French toast and make it more savory than you make it sweet. A lot of the breakfast French toast is sweet with the cinnamon and the nutmeg and the syrup and the powdered sugar and all that stuff. You could actually go in a savory direction by just changing a little bit. You're not going to go sweet. You could throw a little bit of chicken on top of it and do a French toast with a chicken, and use salt and pepper and maybe some paprika in the egg mixture and that type of stuff. This is kind of how I do recipes. Believe it or not, I'll take a base recipe and I will brainstorm it. And what we'll do one of these Food Talk Fridays is we'll all get together and we'll write a recipe. All of us. You want to try that? Try writing a recipe. Wouldn't that be fun? Um, just taking a base recipe and brainstorming what sounds good to you. You know, um, what would you change in whatever? Uh, so that's if you ever. That is kind of how I write recipes. I will research a particular way. Say, Gender Stevo, for example, gave me, "Can you do a beef stroganoff?" Is basically what he told me. I went, "Sure." So I didn't have a beef stroganoff recipe that I did, so I went looking. And what I do is I go looking and I find recipes and I read through them, and I say, "Well, that sounds pretty good." And then I'll look at this other one and, "Well, that one sounds pretty good. This different sounds pretty good. Well, what I would do with this is I would do this, and so I write all this stuff down. You ought to see, I have a notebook. Let's see if I can show you my notebook. This is my recipe notebook. If you ever, this is it. And you see it is full of notes. And what that is I've got a recipe that I'm doing, and the notes that you see there are the changes I make. So exactly, it's just to wing it. So you'll have a base recipe in your head, and you'll say, "Well, I don't know if I want to add that to this time. I think I'll add this instead. Let's see what it does." And that's when, Huzzah, when I was talking to you earlier. Hello, and is it anime stories? Okay. Yeah, from Bangladesh. Awesome. Great area there. I wish I could handle. I have too many in the family that cannot handle spice, and I'd love to do some curries, but man, I've got one that just will. He was sick for days if I do that. you know. Um, so I'm pretty limited on my ability to do that type of stuff. But man, the food from that area of the world is just amazing. So I'm jealous. But I will try to do. There's a butter chicken that I do that I maybe play with a little bit, but Anyway, so what we'll try to do on one of these Food Talk Fridays, and I'm probably going to wrap this up here in just a little bit, but what we'll try to do is one of these Fridays, I'll invite a couple of people on. Let's all get together and let's brainstorm a new recipe. And then we'll try it at home, and we'll come back the next week and tell each other what we thought. How does that sound? Does that sound like a lot of fun for you guys? I'm game. I know Cece. Now, y'all, thank you for coming to my channel. I really, really appreciate it. And please like and subscribe, obviously. But there's another channel I'd like for you to check out. It's the other SPTV cooking channel. It's Cece's Comfort Cooking. Let me see if I can find her channel, because I do have it on my favorites. Let me see. It's Cece's Comfort Cooking. I've got this too small, so I can't see it. Let's see. Let's see if I can get her. There it is. Get her information up here. But anyway, make sure you check out her channel as well. She is. Let me see if I can put this in the chat for you guys. Visit her channel, and yeah, she is a very special person to Claire Headley. I don't know if they've given what their relationship is out yet, but it is very special between the two of them and that family. The things that they have gone through is just really amazing. And she was actually part of. I was never part of Scientology. I came this close, literally. I had a very difficult childhood, and I was looking for any way out. And they did the commercial. You remember the volcano commercial? They did. I was watching the Midnight Special one night, and they did that commercial. And the only reason that I did not get in there is because I didn't have the money at the time, or I probably would have been part of the Scientology, because I just wanted out of what was going on in my house. So anyway, I lucked out, but she did not. So there's some bug in here. Anyway, so definitely check out Cece's channel. She does some really great stuff. She is running differently than I am. I kind of come from a different. Thank you, Anime. I come from a different background than she does, but she does some really great stuff, and I'm kind of seeing what she's doing on her channel and trying not to do what she's doing so that we don't overlap. But I would like, if you guys haven't gone over to Cece's channel, please do. Please subscribe. She's very close to her 1,000 subscribers. So she's much closer than I am. So definitely help her out there. And I'm really glad, Anime, that you tried what I put up there and that you really liked it. Which one did you like the best? Or which ones have you tried? Sorry, I'm really thirsty. Yeah, if you've tried some of them, yeah, let me know. And if you send me pictures or something like that, or if you post pictures, I picked up Electric Boogaloo, put some up on the SPTV Discord, and I picked those up and put them in the channel. So if you make something and take a picture of it and send it to me, and my email is in the about section of the channel. If you send it to me, I'll give you a shout out in the community section. So definitely, do that. And anything, like I said, we'll do a couple other things. I'm going to try to do this weekly, guys. I'm probably going to see if I can get Clearwater Chad on next week. I'm trying to talk Cece into coming on and having us do one together. it's kind of a work in progress. But if this is a good time for you guys, and if you're interested, I will continue to try to do a Food Talk Friday about this time. I'm trying not to step on any toes of the rest of the channel creators. So, this was, as I looked at when people were on and when they were not doing content, this seemed to be the best time. So if that's the case, then we can do that. So, but anyway, well, guys, I need to go and check on my sick puppy dog. As you guys know, I've got a sick dog. It's time for her afternoon medication, so I need to get that done. And but we will definitely do this again. Thank you, Selma. I appreciate that. Again, if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I'm asking underneath the videos or whatever. I'm usually pretty quick to respond to comments under the videos. So, I mean, if it's a thumb up, oh yeah, that's great, type thing, I'll probably give it a thumbs up and go on. But if you have specific questions or comments, then I work very hard to try to address those things in the comments of the video. So please use those to reach out. And again, we'll do this again next week. If you guys enjoyed it, I will plan it for about the 1 o'clock my time, which is 2 Clearwater time, and I'm not sure how it works out for the rest of you. But I will, around 1 o'clock on Fridays, we will try to get together for at least an hour, maybe more, and do this kind of thing. I do appreciate you guys coming by. I know this was the first time and I was trying it out and I didn't give it a whole lot of prior notice. I'll try to do better at that. I wasn't sure I was going to do this today because of the sick dog, but I thought, I can give it an hour. So definitely, y'all, let me know if you like it. Give me thumbs up. Let everybody know that I've got this channel going. Spread it out to your friends far and wide. And let's make this channel great and support the people on the SPTV and those people who have been, oh man, I can't imagine having been in Scientology and having to go through all of that. It's just so rough. But anyway, y'all have a great evening. Thanks for coming to my kitchen, and y'all have an awesome day.